Good morning.
Good morning.
Isn't it a wonderful day?
Yes, it is.
I don't know whether you can feel it in here, but yesterday we had the ministerial students were doing ceremonies, rituals, and services, and so we had this giant ritual in here with incense and all sorts of stuff happening, and I think it's kind of lit us up. It's great. I love it. I love it. I love it. I am Reverend C.C. Coltrane, and I'm delighted to welcome you to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton. If this is your first time here, thank you for sharing your morning with us. We really welcome you and are delighted that you're here. And we would be very appreciative if you would fill in that little tear-off strip that's on your bulletin and with your contact information and turn it in at the Welcome Center after the service. We're not going to do anything weird with your email address. We just want to be able to send you a little thank you for being with us. This morning, This morning, Jerry Blumgold will be giving our reading and invocation. Our vigil holder is Judy Nassmacher. And I just want to tell you that the reading in your bulletin is not the reading for today. I apologize. That's last week's. So the reading for today is right here, Jerry, marked with a yellow tag. Sorry about that. Exactly. And so anyway, Jerry Blumgold and Teresa Napke will be offering our interfaith candle lighting, which we do every Sunday to remind us of all of those sources of wisdom and guidance and truth that are available from all of the world's religious traditions. The kids ages 5 through 10 are with Carol Huseman, and the teens and tweens are with Jen Brust. So while the kids go find their teacher, let's just bless them on their way, shall we? So what I know right now is that these beautiful, beautiful, shining humans, these young people, bless us with their presence.
Yes.
They are able to simply shine the light of divine love so brightly that we can all simply look and take a lesson from them. So I bless all that they do today, knowing that they are a source of joy and love, of life, of goodness. And we thank them for blessing us. And so it is. Have a great day, guys.
Love you. Have fun.
So now we get to hear a wonderful song featuring Lieutenant Dan. It's a song called Lean Into Me.
We light the first candle in honor of the science of mind and spirit. The essence of all true religious philosophy is an inner realization of the presence of perfection within and around about. It is the hope of heaven, the voice of God proclaiming, I am that which thou art. Thou art that which I am. We light the second candle in honor of Hinduism. This invisible and subtle essence is the spirit of the whole universe. That is reality. That is truth. And you are that. We light the third candle in honor of Buddhism. Every sentient being, even an insect, has Buddha nature. The seed of Buddha means consciousness, the cognitive power, the seed of enlightenment. We light the fourth candle in honor of Christianity. The kingdom of God is inside of you, and it is outside of you. Those who become acquainted with themselves will find it. And when you become acquainted with yourselves, you will understand that it is you who are the children of the living Father. We light the fifth candle in honor of Judaism. If the inner fire of the heart is kept burning continuously, it will extinguish all negativity. We light the sixth candle in honor of Taoism. The Tao is called the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. We light the final candle in honor of Native American religions. The first piece, which is the most important, is that which comes from within the souls of the people when they realize their relationship, their oneness with the universe and all its powers. And when they realize that at the center of the universe dwells the Great Spirit, and that this center is really everywhere, it is within each one of us. This is the real peace, and others are but reflections of this. Today's reading is from Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. As you teach your intellect to believe in the free circulation of spirit through you, your thought becomes a law of elimination to congestion. It purifies stagnation. Your consciousness of the divine presence within you, like light, dissipates the darkness. This is the eternal and true self at the center of your being. It is the mind of God manifesting itself in you as you. This you, which it manifests, is not separate from itself, but is itself. This invisible presence is the cause of your personality, the light shining through it. Let's take these words into the silence. So I know today is a day of God expressing that everything in the center is God unfolding. Every note sung, every note played, every word spoken is God expressing. And I thank you, God, for this time that we are sharing for the oneness and the love and the life that we are. And together we say, and so it is.
So I ran into a David Letterman quote the other day that I thought was appropriate for today. He said, if it wasn't for the coffee, I'd have no identifiable personality whatsoever. Some days are like that, right? Some days are like that, if it weren't for the coffee. I want to talk a little bit about this thing called personality, this name that we give to our behaviors and thoughts and feelings and speech and how we act in the world. The dictionary defines it as the sum total of the physical, mental, emotional, and social characteristics of an individual. Well, I've decided that my personality is the source of all my troubles. The great poet T.S. Eliot said, "Poetry is not the expression of personality, but an escape from personality." But of course, only those who have personality know what it means to want to escape from it. Wise words, I'll tell you. Sometimes I want to escape from my personality. Like when I'm in judging mode, which is a lot of the time. When my ego has gotten bruised and I want to take revenge. Or when I feel insecure and my personality gets louder and more obnoxious, I'm trying to make up for that, for the feeling insecure, and when I feel underloved and underappreciated, or when I have a whole lot to do and I feel like I'm too small to get it all done. Those are the times I want to escape from my personality. And our personalities, in one sense, are an extension of our ego selves. Feelings and behavior that come out of things my ego is struggling with, or the things I want to escape from. Those voices. I'm not loved enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not something enough to do what needs to be done. And, I saw the most startling illustration of this. As you know, a week or so ago, I was at our convention, and I was sitting with my sister in the opening session, which was jaw-droppingly wonderful. It was 3 of our youngest ministers, all of them hovering right around 40 somewhere. And they've been out in the field for a while, and they are all amazing. They're all amazing. And they were talking about this new thing, this new Centers for Spiritual Living that's being born through all of us. And they were really working the birth metaphor. You know, they were hilarious about it and poignant about it, but they were really working the birth metaphor. And the point was that we're giving birth to something we haven't ever seen before, because that's the way of our world, right? Now is the time we give birth to things that are bigger and more wonderful than we've ever seen. And of course, birth doesn't happen without pain and a little messiness. And we have to remember that what we're birthing is going to be wonderful, and then we can get through the messiness and the pain. And so we're sitting there at this convention listening to these three passionate, ardent speakers. I was like levitating because I was so nourished and inspired by it all. And I turned to my sister at the end and said, "Wow, I'm really inspired." She looked at me and she said, "I want to retire now." Her personality was reacting to her ego wound that says, "I'm too little to let this happen to me." But she was reacting to, "I'm not big enough to carry this, to actually finish the work of this birth." And I think stuff like that happens to us all the time because we're human. We come up into upon a situation and we just go, "I'm not enough for that," right? The Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard said once that personality is only right when humans have made the truth their own. And years ago, I went in search, back when I was actually reading Søren Kierkegaard for fun. I know, what can I say? I went in search of what he meant by that truth. What is that truth that we have to make our own? And I think it's that our personalities, what we call our personalities, our personal selves, are way bigger than we think they are. They're way bigger than we let ourselves think they are. And I think the best statement of the truth that I've run across comes from our founder, Ernest Holmes, who said, "That which we call personality is the instrument through which God operates." The instrument through which God operates. That's a new thought about personality. It was for me anyway. It was shockingly new and wonderful. And I think that's the truth we have to make our own, and so that our consciousness begins to ripen. And that means, of course, that we move the ego and its smallness out of the driver's seat. And we put it in the back seat with duct tape over its lips if we need to. But at minimum with an order that it does not get to drive. And it does not get to choose our destination. And it doesn't even get to choose what radio station we listen to. It sits in the back, quietly, right? It's there, and that's okay, but it doesn't get to choose. Ernest Holmes taught that the divine, God, that which is all in all, comes to a point in the personal, you and me. Our minds are points in the mind of the universe, and our personalities are individualized expressions of spirit. And so that's what I now try to think of as my personality, rather than the compendium of neuroses that makes me want to escape it. So it's our personality, it is the actual, as our reading points out, the mind of God manifesting as you and as me, the cause of our personality, the light shining through our personality. And we've evolved, and we're conscious, and we're self-conscious, and we're God-conscious, and so we're evolved enough to be able to choose how we let that light shine. We're always a choice about that. We can choose how bright it is. We can choose what direction it shines in. We can simply open ourselves up to letting it shine as much as possible, as clearly and as brightly as possible through us. We can choose to worry about what our parents thought about us, or our first grade teacher thought about us, Mine didn't like me much. Or our first boyfriend or girlfriend thought about us. Or we can just let that light shine out over whoever happens to be near us. Those are our choices, right? We can constrict it because we're afraid, or we can just let God shine out all over those people. We can either worry about how other people might react, whether they'll think we're shining too brightly or not shining brightly enough. We can make them comfortable. We can worry about making them uncomfortable. We can worry about whether we're shining too brightly or we just shine. And if anybody complains, you just invite them to put on a pair of shades. Aren't these great? They're Kenny's. They're little keyboards, believe it or not. It takes a lot of courage to do that, though. It takes a lot of courage to say to somebody, just put on some shades if I'm shining too bright, doesn't it? Because we're trained up instead to think that that's our egos. And the kind of shining I'm talking about isn't ego. It is simply, as the poet said, clearing the way so that the light within can shine forth. There's a poem by Jalaluddin Rumi that talks about this. He says, I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as an animal and I was human, yet once more I shall die human to soar with angels, blessed above. And when I sacrifice my angel soul, I shall become what no mind ever conceived. As a human I will die once more. Reborn, I will with the angels soar, and when I let my angel body go, I shall be more than mortal mind can know. And he's not talking about what happens after we die. He's talking about right here and right now, our evolution as spiritual beings, our transformation as spiritual beings. Because there's an intelligence in the atom, and there's an intelligence in the molecule, and an intelligence in plants that lets them follow the sun, and an intelligence that's greater in the animal that lets it care for its young and find food and survive during hard times. And then there is this self-conscious, God-conscious human beings. And then there is the cosmic consciousness, the Christ consciousness into which we're all evolving. I think we have arrived at the moment when that cosmic consciousness is beginning to tug at us as a people, as a species, as the population of the earth. It's beginning to tug at us. We're starting to feel the earliest contractions, if you will. We're starting to get signals that this baby wants to be born. We're starting to get signals that it can't be delivered by anybody except you and me. We're the ones. We're the midwives. Clumsy sometimes, yes, as forgot his first name, last name is Baldwin. No, older than that. James Baldwin, thank you. He said, I've just had a little mental lapse there, sorry. He said, there is a new thing trying to be born by means of us, and during this process, this is paraphrasing, but what we're going to find is that we are exceedingly clumsy midwives. And we are exceedingly clumsy midwives, but we're here saying yes to being the midwives. We're here saying yes to being the place of gestation and the place of birth, because what's trying to be born through us is big. It's great gestation and labor. And so what are some things that might help us handle the pain and the upheaval and the messiness of this birthing so that we have the courage to shine? I think for me, that realizing that what Ernest Holmes said was true, that personality, my personality and your personality, is the place God does its work. See, each one of us is peculiar, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean singular, and unique and perfect and whole and beautiful. And so it's as us with this compendium of uniqueness. That's how God shows up as me, and that's how God shows up as Teresa, and that's how God shows up as any of us, right? As who we are, with our lens polished, as clearly as we can make it polished. I think owning that truth every day, that my personality is the instrument through which the divine operates, it lifted a huge sense of restriction somehow for me. And I didn't even know I felt it before it sort of lifted. When we can realize that our personality is the instrument of divine presence and divine action, then, I don't know about you, but I no longer feel like I have to escape my personality. I can just live in it and through it. All I have to do is ask, what is the God quality that this situation is calling forth in me? And then let that work through my personality as me. In short, I can realize that those restrictions and limitations that I've been carrying around are not things in themselves. They're part of an outline that I set up, an outline that circumscribes my life. And since that's the case, I can use my divinely given powers of imagination and insight and intuition and enlarge my experience a little bit. I can change the outline by asking what divine quality it needs to be brought to bear on whatever's in front of me. And then I can use my divinely given faculty of will to keep dragging the puppy. Here we are mixing metaphors again. Dragging the puppy back to that point, because my ego wants to go, no, it's over here. It's over here in judgment, or over here in anger, or over here in whatever. What is the divine quality that wants to be seen and brought to bear here by means of me? Here's an example. A couple of years ago, I had to fire somebody. She'd worked here for about, 4 or 5 weeks, and had missed a day she'd missed a day and been late 4 times already. And she just was not working out very well. And so I had to fire her, and I hated it. I hated it. And I went into it with knowing she was going to hate me afterwards. I was going to, her feelings were going to be hurt. It was so difficult for me, and I was so afraid, and it was so awkward, and I stumbled my way through it, and she left in tears and angry. And a couple of months ago, I had to do something much more difficult. I had to tell 2 ministerial students that they were not ready and couldn't continue in the program. And that's a way bigger, that's like it's a big thing to do. And as I prepared for it, I kept trying to remember that it isn't the little me of my old personality doing what I have to do. It's that within me that's trying to do the best for all concerned. And it was a huge difference in how I handled it and how I felt afterwards. And I think how they felt afterwards too. I sort of went in knowing that it was the right thing to do, and I let Spirit lead with love, and we all got through it, and we're all doing fine. And I remembered what I know to be the truth about God, and that is, as it works by means of us, it is always biased towards good. Spirit is always seeking the greatest amount of good. Always. It's always biased towards love and towards justice, which is how love in action looks, towards life and joy and a greater way of being for everyone. That's the divine bias. It's towards good. It's towards joy. So there's nothing to fear in being willing to allow Spirit to be the way, to be what makes its way into the world by means of us and our personalities. So whether you're changing somebody's tire or operating on somebody's brain, whether you are cleaning somebody's house or offering up a prayer for them, whether you're in meditation or the middle of a heated, contentious meeting, if you remember that it's Spirit showing up as you, and what divine quality is trying to make its way into this circumstance by means of you, it will always be biased towards good and joy and transformation and love and hope and plenty and life. Brene Brown, who many of you know, she's an amazing author. She said, "I'm not interested in what you think you can do. I'm interested in what you're willing to allow the divine to do through you. You will be assisted in every way. Your gifts have healing powers for you and the world. We do not need your excuses. We need your voice." I love that. I love that. And she's speaking to the same thing. What's pulling at us, what's tugging at us, what's contracting, what's kicking to be born is that. It's that we're here in our allness, in our fullness, in our highest and best and shiniest selves. And so I found I'm going to share my spiritual practice for the last couple of weeks with you, and I actually put it on a little card, which I'll give you at the end of service when I'm back there by the door. Stop by and I'll give you a little reminder. It's a little prayer by the 15th century Indian mystic Kabir. I carry it with me to help me remember that Spirit uses me, all of me, my personality, my hands, my voice, my heart, my brain, my time, all of me as an instrument. And all I have to do is tune myself to that. And the prayer goes like this. May I, above all else, cherish at heart that love that makes me live a limitless life in the world. May I above all else cherish at heart that love that makes me live a limitless life in the world. So you can put this under the, glass of your desk or on your rearview mirror, your bathroom mirror, or wherever you will be reminded that really all you have to do is polish that glass and shine. Carry a spare pair of sunglasses in your car in case somebody else needs them because you're shining too brightly. And say what it is. What is that love that makes me live a limitless life in the world? What is that love that's trying to make its way into this situation by means of me? And as Ernest Holmes says, work in perfect peace and perfect calm, and always expect the good. Have enthusiasm, and always a consciousness of love. So let's take a few moments to pray together. As I breathe in, I just remember that there's only one, that which we call God, that which thought and spoke into being, all that exists, that is everywhere present, that fills every moment of time with its bias for good, that its life is the life of all things, that its life dwells in me, that its life dwells in every single one of us, that God is being made manifest all around us. As the Quran says, everywhere I look, I see the face of God. And how blessed we are to be able to do that, to be able to lift off that which is covering our highest vision and see the face of God wherever we look. How blessed we are to be able to know that that which pulls at us, that which is tugging at us, is the divine, seeking to make itself known in our world by means of us. How blessed are we to know that it is love that is always the right answer. It is love coming into the world in greater ways by means of us that will change everything. It is love that is already changing everything, for it is changing me, it is changing you, it is changing our lives here and now, and now, and now. And so what I know is that each one of us simply says yes to that divine presence that is making its way through our personalities, in us and as us. We say yes to bringing into the world in form those divine qualities that are necessary to increase the quotient of love in whatever we are doing. We say yes to clearing away those things that make us want to hide our light, that make us want to say, I'm too small, because none of us is too small. We are the divine showing up, however we are showing up. We are perfectly showing up as us. To saying yes to that which is trying to be born by means of each one of us. That greater world, that world where love is the answer, where love is apparent everywhere, that world that works for all life. And knowing that this is the truth about us, I just give thanks. I say, thank you, God, for this day, this amazing, wonderful, beautiful day. I say, thank you, God, for this life that sometimes seems so complicated, but is simply part of the life of God. I say thank you for this community, this place of love and acceptance and transformation, where we help each other remember that is the personality, is the lamp through which the light of the divine shines. And so in deep gratitude, I simply let all this go, knowing it's done already, because of that divine love that says yes to us over and over and over again. So we simply let it be. And we say together, and so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life.
We are all just drops within a stream flowing towards an ocean of light. We may forget where we come from. We may forget where we're going to.
an opportunity to give to this community because we're part of this community. I give electronically each week because I'm invested in what we do. And I hope you are too. So I want to invite you to invest from your sense of ownership in this community, because this is a place that serves you in your transformation and helps you change your world, and together we change the world. So let's affirm together. I know the activity of abundance in my life.
I know the activity of abundance in my life.
And in this center.
And in this center.
I give and receive generously.
I give and I receive generously.
From this flow of good.
From this flow of good.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Oh, I know. Oh, thanks. Hey, that's a great answer. That's what love looks like. That's what love looks like. So I have a couple of things I want to just let you know from last week when we had our second community conversation about why we are, why we exist. The top 3 things by far: transformation, acceptance, and community. And so your leadership council will be working with and from that information, and you will hear more about it, no doubt. If you want to be part of our Sunday candle lighting, there's a sign-up sheet over on the bulletin board. Just put your name in under a date and come play with us, please. There is an awfully lot happening around here. So be sure you look at all that stuff in your bulletin. There's today at 2 p.m. Ta-da! Today at 2 p.m. there's a walk at Riverscape Metro Park. Saturday evening, this coming Saturday, is game night here at the center. Next Sunday, if you've recently found the center, please join me for Rap with the Rev. There's so much going on. And please take note of Yoda. Next Saturday, spring forward you must, or late to church you will be. So she's even put little clocks on there in case you're as confused as I am when I go to bed on Saturday nights, springing forward from 2 till 3. There's a lot going on, a lot of really good activities. So take a look at those handouts in your bulletin. And if there is something in your life you'd like prayer for, please, after the service, just look for one of the beautiful women with the white or teal shawls on. They wear buttons that say, "Make my day, ask me to pray." That's what they're here for. So please ask them, and they will be happy to pray with you. I've lost my place.
In the interim, anybody who wants to hike, but is not sure where we're meeting, Kelly is the one you can reach out to, and
There's a map in the bulletin, but I'll be right here.
Oh yes, there is. There's a map on the folder there that shows the nice picture of Riverscape Metro Park, and there's a little map that says "Me Here" by the pavilion, and so you can find it easily there. The other thing I wanted to say is that one of our congregants does intuitive work, and if you would like to meet with her and have her do some intuitive work with you, it's Carol Jackson, and she donates 20% of all that money back to the center. So please talk with her. I have to tell you, she's it's kind of like what happened yesterday to me during one of our rituals. We had a Celtic grandmother's ritual where we called in the grandmothers and agreed to be their grandchildren, and I had a little visitation. I have to tell you, it was kind of spooky and wonderful and wonderful. And being with Carol's kind of like that. She makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. So check out with her and talk with her more about it after service. I just want to remind you that hugs are really good for you. So get lots of hugs before you leave. They're good for your mental health and your physical health and your spiritual health. And, if you don't know the person you're hugging, introduce yourself first, please. But get to know them a little better. It's a great way to just, see who all is here, as well as nourish each other in love. And I just want to thank everybody, all of you, for being here, for making it possible. Thank you to our ushers and greeters and the amazing musicians, the Higher Mind Band, as always. Y'all are awesome. And and everybody here. So let's stand for our closing affirmation and our closing song, Into the Light. And guess what our affirmation is? May I, above all else,
May I, above all else,
cherish at heart
cherish at heart
that love
that
that makes me live a limitless life in the world.
that makes me live a limitless life in the world.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a great, wonderful, fabulous week.